Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now on with the show.
Welcome to the All New Marvel Roundup, the weekly Marvel Comics review. With me, Phil Parrish, and as always, with me is...
Charlie Esser.
Alright, Charlie, what you read this week?
Okay, well, I only had one book in my pull list this week, which can be fun and can be very dangerous, and it was a dangerous week for me, because I found two books that I really enjoyed. I was really torn, because I was like, I don't want to buy too many books, because, it's going to be a heavy heavy week next week, I'm sure, because it's usually how it goes. You get that one book one week, and then it's like 12 books the next. But I picked up Inhuman 13 and Secret Avengers 14. Just to start it off, I got to say both of these were really great books. Recently, the Capo, leader of Human Corporation, Elektra, sought to recover his only hope of survival. A young new human, which is their word for the new Inhumans, woman named Ice, by declaring war on her haven, New Attilan. During the ensuing battle, Black Bolt, who'd been in hiding since detonating the Terrigen bomb, returned and struck down the Capo's airship, while the citizens of New Attilan tended to the wounded. Black Bolt and Medusa retired to the throne room, where Medusa made it clear to her husband that he had lost his right to rule. Unwilling to fight his wife for a seat of power, Black Bolt destroyed his throne and took his leave. The falling out seemed to please Lineage, who, unbeknownst to the king and queen, was watching from the shadows. Now, that is our intro. And we cut right to young Dante, who is one of our new Inhumans, who has flame powers. If you've seen the ad for Uncanny Inhumans #1, you see that he is one of the primary characters in that, along with Johnny Storm, Human Torch, who does have his flame powers back, which kind of makes him somewhat redundant since Dante also has flame powers. And I'm guessing maybe they put them together because in this issue, Dante's having trouble controlling his flame power, so maybe they asked Johnny to come in and help train him. I don't know. But anyway, so Dante has some trouble. He's a drummer in a band. He's playing and basically sets himself and the club nearly on fire. Meanwhile, Lineage, the guy from the previous info drop that we got, is talking to Eldrick, the door. Those not familiar with Inhuman history, Eldrick basically is a door, but he's also an Inhuman. And his power is you can walk through him and you will go where you need to be, or at least where Eldrick thinks you need to be. It is one of the most convenient plot devices ever created, and that very little has been done for Eldrick as a person. And here we have Lineage basically talking to Eldrick as a person, saying, I understand that, it probably sucks to be a door because you used to be basically a person. And, it's very easy for, Medusa and Black Bolt and all the other Inhumans to say, you must accept what you become because that is your role in the family when you come out looking like a superhero supermodel. But, Eldrick came out looking like architecture. And so Lineage makes a deal with him, which results in, Medusa and her crew being sent to an ambush with where Lash, who is another group of Inhumans, who basically they were one of the groups of Earthbound Inhumans who only gave their most worthy the Terrigen Mist and are very opposed to the fact that so many random people have been given the Terrigen Mist and the gifts of Terrigenesis, and now they're out to kill all of those that they deem unworthy. Gorgon comes in on Eldrick as he is waxing somewhat supervillainy. Realizes something is up, and Lineage shoots Gorgon in the back. And then we get our big reveal for the end of it. For those of you who were not aware, Karnak died a while ago, just after the explosion in New Atlan. And he is apparently in hell. And he's talking to some other beings in hell. And he says, "We are dead in hell, but I am Karnak of the Inhumans, and I tell you this, even hell has a weakness, and I can see it." So I guess next week we get Uncanny Inhumans number 0. We'll pick that up and see where that leads us. And Jailbreak from Hell, led by Karnak. So that should be fun. So big thumbs up on Inhumans. Like I said, great book, and in a long time. Pretty much shortly after the new sort of Avengers came out. And I'll give you the background on this. Suspecting that MODOK had betrayed her, Hill was surprised to find out that his assistant Snapper had been pulling the strings behind MODOK's back all along. After capturing Hill and Spider-Woman, Snapper revealed that he planned to bring Tlon to Earth to destroy all the so-called bullies. What is Tlon? Oh, just another worldly realm full of monsters that would drive humanity mad and destroy the Earth if they were to ever escape. MODOK had originally planned to betray and kill the Secret Avengers, but he surprised himself by falling in love with Maria Hill. So now he decided to help the team stop Snapper. Spider-Woman, who has recently been learning more about the true nature of her pheromone ability, escaped captivity just as Coulson and Nick Fury arrived to rescue her. While Hawkeye, MODOK, and Fury charged the square where Snapper hoped to manifest Tlon. They thought he was ready to negotiate, but it turned out he only needed to get MODOK close enough to tag him for use in Tlon's rise. Clue, the Cthulhu-apocalypse. Acathulips? What do you believe? Part 4 of 5. Now, this is a great book, especially going into Secret Wars. Because this is about imagining the universe and the power of ultimate human thought as the prime mover in the universe. It's a good story. It's got a lot of wit. It's got a lot of funny. Very much feels like kind of like the MCU, where there's humor but drama and pain and all of that, but always with a little bit of a tongue planted firmly in cheek. For me, as a fan, I'm happy to see that this Tlon, whatever he is, character looks a lot like what the Void turned into at the end of Siege. So always happy to see another possible Sentry reference. Basically, what is happening is they are using, though it may sound comic booky, the power of love to imagine a better universe, a universe where they do not all get destroyed. And that is the last we see of the issue as it fades into pink nothingness. Spider-Woman is using her pheromone powers on Snapper to try to feel his pain, to feel what drove him mad. And they connect in a very kind of beautiful way. It's an interesting book just in the fact that sure there's fighting and there's arrows because Hawkeye's in it and lots of crazy adventure, but in the end it's about connecting emotionally with another human being, and that theoretically is what's going to save the universe. So really enjoyed it. Don't know if it really ties into Secret Wars in any way. I want to feel like it does, though. I want to feel like it does. Another big thumbs up for Secret Avengers. Okay, and that gets us to your 473 books, right, Phil?
Just about. All right, I'll start off with Elektra number 11.
Mm-hmm.
It's the last issue of this series for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
I think this was my favorite issue of the series so far. We see Elektra basically almost kill Bullseye after he kills the leader of the Assassins Guild, who was a young girl.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually at the end, Elektra takes over as leader of the Assassins Guild, and she invites like Crossbones and Sidewinder and a bunch of other mercenaries at the end, and like the last page is just her saying, yeah, there's no Assassins Guild, you're just here so I can try to kill you. But short to the point, but I give it a thumbs up.
Cool.
And next up, Guardians of the Galaxy 25, Nova 28, and Legendary Star-Lord 10 are parts 7, 8, and 9 of Black Vortex, so we'll take that as one big story. Everyone's fighting over the Black Vortex as usual. The Supreme Intelligence tells our heroes that basically he's going to try to get rid of them, get rid of the Earth, until Hala gets hit with another big blast. Didn't they do that in the 90s? Operation Galactic Storm. But anyway, we see at the end... Well, first, Nova tries to make off with the Black Vortex to protect it from all the alien races, including Star-Lord's father. And he gets kind of knocked out, but then he makes it back to Earth, back to his house with the Black Vortex until bounty hunters find him at home and he has to take off again. But in Legendary Star-Lord 10 at the end, we see that, Spartex has been covered in like this gold whatever. Like the whole population's been kind of frozen. And the whole plot is, the Badoon, the Brood. The Brood are gonna, infect the whole planet. You know, that's how they reproduce. They plant eggs in people's heads and the heads explode. And they made a deal with Star-Lord's father that for every 3 planets they take over, he gets 1. So that's how the story ends, with his Star-Lord's father basically trading billions of lives for power.
He's a real...
Decent so far. I'll give it a thumbs up.
Yeah.
And then next, we'll jump to the future with Guardians 3000. The future Guardians are about to come back to the 21st century to find out what's wrong, why time is being all funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to read this. This is Galactus's words. This is what he tells Gina Drake, the young girl with the Guardians. He says, "Your origin era is nothing, the 31st century, is nothing more than the echo of a universe that has already perished. Fragments of alternate realities and broken dimensional iterations grind against each other meaninglessly, the debris of a doomed reality."
That's beautiful.
Yes, he even says, in the Earth year 2015 AD, this universe will be unmade. The time period you come from is just the dissipating debris of that event, the receding shockwave. So, Secret Wars, anyone?
Well, yeah. Well, clearly, yes. That is, as it turns out, what we're all leading up to, Secret Wars. It reminds me of, in the old Marvel official guide to the Marvel Universe, official handbook of the Marvel Universe from the 80s. They had a little glossary of terms, and one of the items was time, and they defined time as the phenomenon that keeps everything from happening at once, which we are now seeing playing out as we approach our Secret Wars, that all of these times do exist all at the same time, even though we see them, or we perceive them as something in the future or the past, or something tied to some sort of causality. But in fact, they're all there, all happening, all the time. We can talk about that in superconnectivity.
Yes. But anyway, the future Guardians eventually make it back to the 21st century and meet the present-day Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how they end the issue. But I give this one a big thumbs up.
Very good.
Let's see. Next we have Amazing X-Men 18. We're in the middle of the Juggernaut storyline. The X-Men were trying to figure out how to take the living monolith out.
Oh, yes.
Get the Juggernaut power away from him. Eventually, Storm had to sit down for a while. She was like, you know what, it's just too much. After months of Wolverine dying and everything else, I just gotta take a break. So they kind of just sat around and talked for a while. And Colossus tried to make a deal with the entity Sidorak, where the Juggernaut power comes from. And So Sidorak takes his power from the living monolith, but he doesn't give it to Colossus as planned. He kind of goes back to Cain Marko and makes him like an alternate, not an alternate, an ultimate Juggernaut.
Okay.
As we see on the last page. I give that one a thumbs up.
And does he destroy? Oh, we don't know what he destroys yet.
No, he gets the power on the last page, so.
Yeah, because that's... I remember at one point that was one of the reasons why Sidorak took his power away from him in a past storyline, was because he wasn't breaking enough stuff. He wasn't being, juggernauty enough. He was being too much of a good guy. It was one of his times he was trying to be a good guy, and he wasn't breaking enough stuff. Sidorak says, so that's not what my avatar should be doing on this planet.
Well, Colossus went to Sidorak, and he was like, yeah, none of your avatars have been doing a good job. And Sidorak was like, well, why should I give my power to you? And Colossus was like, well, give me your power, and I will try to kill you. And Sidorak's like, okay.
Well, there you go. That's magic for you.
Yeah, but for some reason he betrays him, gives it back to Cain Marko.
Well, yeah, because he said he was going to kill him. He's like, no, man, that's all good.
All right, and then we jump from Amazing X-Men to Uncanny X-Men number 32. I won't go into too much plot detail, but through flashbacks, the Cyclops talking to Emma Frost, and then him talking to his brother Havoc in the present day, they both kind of ask him, because he's ready to like turn himself in and give himself up finally for the murder of Charles Xavier. And they're like, well, what has the point been in the last couple months of you, like, threatening the human race and everything? And Cyclops says, well, that's the only option I thought the mutant race had left. He's like, we tried to save them, we tried to protect them, we tried to live in harmony with them, and they never wanted it. So I thought the only options that our race, who were supposed to be the next step in human evolution, and were on the verge of extinction, I thought the last step that I could take was threatening them into coexistence.
Yeah, that didn't work out well.
No, and then at the end, Havoc says he has a better idea, and him and Cyclops walk off, but they still haven't told us what the plan is yet. But I'll give that one a thumbs up.
Very good.
Alright, and now we'll go to Deadpool 44.
Yay! I was so close to buying this book, but I said, I could buy the book, but Phil's going to read it anyway. So,
Well, if you get the next issue, it'll be issue 250.
Oh.
I believe it'll be the last one for a while. They're killing Deadpool.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know why they're killing Deadpool. Fox.
No, they're killing Deadpool because Deadpool is not actually going to be dead because he's Deadpool. If something was going to kill Deadpool, wouldn't he already be dead? That's what I always say. No, they're not going to kill Deadpool. He's going off to fight in the Secret Wars, but the one from the 80s, because that was the cool one. Yeah. Remember, Deadpool knows he's fictional. That is the key of Deadpool. So don't worry. Deadpool's going to do just fine. They'll kill him, and much like Ambush Bug, he'll just find the exit in hell. And that's the weakness Karnak was talking about. There's an exit right there. It's marked. Let's go. Ambush Bug reference.
But this issue, Deadpool he feels he's in a good place. He shows mercy to Omega Red. He tells him, I don't know if he'll prove that he didn't kill his family, but he's like, give me a chance. And then he has some alone time with his demon wife, who he doesn't know is like raising an army to, I don't know whether to destroy the human race or enslave the human race.
Something. I thought she was just planning on getting revenge on Dracula. I don't know.
What's that?
I thought she was just planning on getting revenge on Dracula.
I think that's a step along the way. But then at the end, as we've seen in like the last page or two of the last couple issues, Ultimatum shows up. They're going after Deadpool's friends and his daughters. They want Deadpool, so I don't know if it's a race to see who can kill Deadpool first.
In the end, Fred Hembeck does.
But I love Deadpool. This is a thumbs up.
Cool.
And then the last one that I just read was Daredevil 14.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that Matt Murdock has he's writing a tell-all book. Well, he's having Foggy ghostwrite it, and his identity is public knowledge. He's not wearing his costume anymore. He's wearing a red, like a 3-piece suit.
Mm-hmm.
He actually looks like the devil almost.
There you go, man.
And he meets the daughter of the Owl, who's looking for her father, and they find him in the end. And for some reason, someone has him hooked up to a bunch of wires, and we don't know why. But the Shroud shows up in the end. He's supposed to be an ally of Daredevil, but he has a big spider mark on his forehead. So I think they're trying to show that he's under the Mystery Mastermind's control, and that's where the issue kind of ends.
Dun dun dun. Okay.
And I kind of have to give this one a thumbs up, but not a whole not a big there you go thumbs up. I don't know, the whole suit kind of weirded me out.
Yeah. Actually, I think AV Club really likes the suit, but
oh yeah,
yeah, they did.
It kind of looks like the devil.
Well, I mean,
like I said, when the devil comes to make a deal for your soul, that's what it kind of looks like.
Well, if it fits.
Yeah, but all right, let's get to the big one.
Okay, so New Avengers 32. Wow. Oh man. So
the gods were angry.
Yeah. Well, it was pretty amazing. And we found out two things. Beyonders vulnerable. They are not as be all and end all as apparently the Beyonders thought they were. And to me, that was pretty amazing. But should we go back to the start of it all?
Sure.
Okay. So obviously, we've got our interdimensional Avengers here, which is Odin's son, and Hyperion, and Starbrand, and Abyss, and Ex Nihilo, several Ex Nihilo actually, and of course, what's his name? Nightshade.
Night Mask.
Sorry.
Night Mask?
Night Mask, that's right. And they're trying to find the cause of the incursions, and they find it. They find the Beyonders, much like except what they find is the actual fissure from which the Beyonders are poking at the universe. The wound in the universe which they are poking. And they go do battle. And Thor has an evil Thor's hammer, which of course says, if he be, whoever holds his hammer, if he be unworthy, then he shall have the power of Thor with an extra R, because that's from the evil Avengers universe. And they do battle with two Beyonders. And of course, what happens? I'm sorry?
It takes the death of everyone except for Thor and Hyperion to defeat those two.
Yes. Well, yeah, but it's, and this is what I thought was fascinating in it, because the Ex Nihilo turned one of the Beyonders into a tree, and I'm looking at it and thinking, the World Tree, that they just turned a Beyonder into a new World Tree, and I wonder if that's going to come back, if that is something that feeds into our battle world, if that maybe even becomes the World Tree of the battle world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a possibility there. It's beautiful. Although Starbrand is like, they're gone and they left a freaking tree. Super. And the other Beyonder is like, what have you done? And, do you have any idea of the significance of us? He cannot handle this idea of one of them being destroyed. But then, of course, he stabs Starbrand, and Starbrand basically wipes him off the map because, he releases the full Starbrand power, the full new universe power. And that is nothing compared to a Beyonder, apparently, which is interesting. When we look back at what we've been given so far about the Beyonders, and the other things that we've been given, like the Builders and the Builders who created the Starbrand as a universal defense system, perhaps even intentionally to be a universal defense system against the Beyonders. And of course, in the Beyond Corporation, explaining how that there are many things in the Beyond that are doing battle here. It's very fascinating, and to see the Beyonder get owned in that way is pretty exciting. And one thing that was I kept thinking in that is, you're looking at the Beyonders as they're presented, and they do look very Adaptoid-esque. Although in my other readings of this, in some other research, it seems that the map makers are the Adaptoid. So it's possible that the Beyonders are just taking the form of the Adaptoid just to communicate. That was the thing that struck me in this was, the one Beyonder tells Thor, why are you fighting this? If you just let us finish our experiment, this will all be over much quicker. Why are you prolonging this? And it does make me wonder, again, like I said, if there is more to the Beyonders, that maybe that, these incursions are, that there's more to the incursions and more to the Beyonders than meets the eye. Of course, in the end, basically after the two Beyonders have been defeated, all the other 600 million Beyonders decide to do battle. And there's Thor and Hyperion, and they make their stand, and they fight on. And, I'd like to think they took one or two Beyonders to wipe Thor and Hyperion from the map. I mean, they win, or at least they seem to. And yeah, this could be like our Death of Namor, where, Namor is dead. But no, not really. So I'm wondering if Thor and Hyperion just got pulled into the Beyonder realm, Maybe there's more to them than meets the eye. So, because we do know that at least some kind of Thor is coming back. If nothing else, King Thor is on Battle World. So somehow a Thor gets out of this.
They have that whole Thor Force arc, don't they?
Yeah, well, exactly. And we know from the pictures that one of them is King Thor, old Thor from the future.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. So, what did you think, Phil? What did you think of this issue?
Oh, I liked it. It was really, epic.
Yeah, well, it was. I mean, honestly, it is a book that makes you realize why comic books are great. This entire concept of these cosmic beings just punching each other in the face, as Thor says, and when at the beginning, I go to smite at the very heart of what caused all this. He's gonna punch the gods in the face.
And did you see at the end where when they were ready to make their last stand against the Beyonders, he couldn't hold the unworthy hammer anymore?
Oh yeah, that's great. Well, he's worthy again. Yay! Or at least not unworthy enough. That's such an odd phrase, because obviously what it is coming from the evil universe. Similar to one of the evil universes in DC or where it's just a reverse of everything. Obviously, as in with our universe, where worthiness is an absolute state, unworthiness is obviously an absolute state in that universe. And though why you would use the modifier un? Wouldn't you have your own word for worthy? Wouldn't it possibly be worthy? It's like you're worthy of being evil? I don't know. Let's not overthink it, because it is a fictional universe, and that's intentional. As I always say, it's all intentional, because in 2 months' time runs out. So we got 2 more issues of this, I guess, and then we're on Battle World, and got some interesting things about Battle World this week, which we'll talk about in Super Connectivity. I really was pleased by this book. And like I said, really, although, man, is it just me, or do some of these Beyonders look like Transformers?
Yes.
It was just a strange design idea, and sometimes artists have ideas, and and they definitely, like I said, they definitely have that adaptoid imagery to them. And that makes you worry that they are going to do something. Oh, the adaptoids are actually the Beyonders, because, although perhaps it does go into this idea that, if you're outside of space and you can absorb all kinds of energies, maybe that does give you that ability to be that universal being, that these universal, although would make for an interesting thing if all of the forces of death from the incursion are all from the 616 and all from the same basic time period, because although that would explain why it's all accelerating, because this was the moment when all these things went outside of the universe and then started to mess with it throughout history, sort of like, and of course, when you have, Age of Ultron and they're going back and forth and that breaks time. So anything else to cover tonight, Beth?
I don't think so.
Okay.
All right, then, everyone. Like Charlie said, tune in for Super Connectivity later in the week. Hear more in-depth thoughts on everything we talked about. And you can get a hold of me at nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. And Charlie?
Oh, I am at Charlie Esser on Twitter. Follow me, and
all right.
I tweet. Great. And, of course, Super Connectivity blog at gmail.com if you want to send me your thoughts on our reviews.
All right, everyone. That's it for this week. Remember to come back next week. Also, check out all the other shows on the Nuff Said feed. And remember, Secret Wars is coming. Prepare for Battle World.